From the eastern borders to the capital Kyiv, alarms began to wail. Hundreds of drones and missiles, launched in a carefully choreographed assault, screamed across the sky toward one crucial target, Starokostiantyniv Airbase in the Khmelnytsky region. What unfolded wasn't just another raid, it was one of the largest and most sophisticated aerial attacks of the war to date. But it was also a test of weapons, of will, and of wits. So how did Ukraine respond to a sky flooded with danger? And what does this strike say about the shifting face of 21st century warfare? Let's get it. As dawn broke on July 28, 2025, Ukraine's skies were anything but peaceful. Long before civilians stirred from their beds, radar screens across the country lit up with activity. Around 324 Shahed-type kamikaze drones filled the air in successive waves. Accompanying them were 4 Kh-101 air-launched cruise missiles and 3 of Russia's prized Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. Their main target, Starokostiantyniv Airbase, a vital Ukrainian military hub home to strike aircraft, surveillance units, and logistics networks. Ukraine's response was swift and coordinated. Throughout the night, defenders scrambled to meet the onslaught with every tool available. Patriot batteries, Iris-T systems, Soviet-era launchers, man-pads, even anti-aircraft guns. Based on Ukraine media, as of 9:30 Kyiv time, their success was astonishing. 309 drones and 2 Kh-101 cruise missile had been intercepted. All 3 Kinzhal missiles had been neutralized mid-air. Yet, not everything was stopped. Around 15 drones and 2 missiles slipped through. Explosions shook the airbase and civilian areas nearby. In Kyiv, falling debris injured several civilians. The message was clear: even when you win the sky, you don't win it all. The strike showcased 2 of Russia's most advanced weapons, the Kh-101 and the Kh-47M2 Kinzhal. But what makes them so dangerous? The Kh-101 is no ordinary cruise missile. Stealthy and long-ranged, it travels over 2,000 kilometers hugging the Earth, guided by a mix of inertial navigation, satellite correction, and terrain-matching software. It's hard to detect, harder to stop, and capable of carrying warheads powerful enough to crater airfields or destroy bunkers. Launched from Tu-95MS or Tu-160 bombers, the Kh-101 is a strategic weapon meant to hit deep and hit hard without risking a pilot. Then there's the Kinzhal, Russia's so-called unstoppable missile. Fired from high-speed MiG-31K jets, it reaches speeds up to Mach 10, around 12,000 kilometers per hour. Its quasi-ballistic flight path and mid-course maneuverability make it a nightmare for traditional air defense systems. Or so it once seemed. Early in the war, Ukraine had few answers for the Kinzhal. But by mid-2025, that changed. With US-supplied Patriot systems and expanded radar coverage, Ukraine began successfully intercepting these hypersonic threats. On July 28th, all 3 Kinzhals were reportedly shot down before impact, a blow not just to Russian tactics, but to the missile's mythos. What saved Ukraine that night was more than just equipment. It was adaptation. Ukraine's air defense strategy has evolved into a multi-layered hybrid system. At the top are advanced systems like Patriot and Iris-T, guarding strategic assets and urban centers. At medium and low altitudes, Soviet-era systems like Buk and S-300 provide coverage. Then come mobile fire groups, soldiers in trucks, armed with Stinger and Igla man-pads, constantly repositioning to ambush drones and low-flying cruise missiles. But the fight isn't all kinetic. Electronic warfare played a starring role. Ukrainian EW units jammed drone signals, disrupting navigation systems and causing dozens to crash prematurely. Combined with fighter sorties, MiG-29s and Su-27s flying intercept missions, the defense formed a dynamic, interlocking net. By the end of the engagement, Ukraine had shot down 311 of 331 threats. It was a defensive masterclass, but it came at a cost. Record drone attacks have been recorded in recent weeks, with Russian troops attempting to exhaust Ukrainian air defense forces by attacking simultaneously with hundreds of drones from several directions. But the Russian strike on the night of July 28th was one of the most massive. In Kyiv, debris from downed targets damaged residential buildings in the Darnitsky and Holosivsky district. Despite Ukraine's success, the attack did damage. Starokostiantyniv Airbase suffered hits to its runway and storage facilities. Repair crews rushed to patch craters, salvage aircraft, and reroute operations. The disruption could delay sortie rates, reconnaissance missions, and the flow of critical supplies. Civilian infrastructure wasn't spared either. In Kyiv, homes and offices were rattled by secondary explosions and falling fragments. Several civilians were injured. It's a stark reminder that even defensive victories carry trauma. And then there's the economic toll. Each interceptor missile, particularly Patriots, costs hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of dollars. Ukraine's finite stockpile depends heavily on timely Western resupply. In contrast, Shahed drones cost a fraction and are expendable by design. For every dollar Ukraine spends shooting them down, Russia spends less than a tenth launching them. But Russia has its own cost to bear. Each Kh-101 or Kinzhal launched drains a finite reserve of high-tech munitions. These are not mass-produced, low-cost weapons. They are strategic assets, and launching them in bulk carries long-term risks. More damaging still is the loss of psychological advantage. The Kinzhal was once framed as a superweapon, impossible to stop, terrifying to face. But if Ukraine continues intercepting these missiles, their aura fades. They become less a symbol of dominance and more a statistic of failure. Still, this was only one night. The war is far from over. And Russia's missile factories are still humming. The burden of defense will persist, and so will the need for innovation, resilience, and international support. And for both sides, one truth remains: the next war won't just be fought in the trenches. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay informed.